is VCU plus 12.5 a play? And what I want to know, I'll go to Rob first. Do you have any interest in fading Will Wade at this point? Because I certainly do not. And so I will not be on VCU tonight. How about yourself?
Yeah, I wouldn't be against Will Wade at this point. Again, I've said it before. He's the kind of guy who every game is a statement game to him. And actually, I got a few quotes here for you guys. And Will Wade, it's kind of coach speak. But what he said about tonight's game was it's about to get real quick, and we're going to have to play better. What worked in these early games won't work against VCU. A ton of respect for their program. Nice coach, being nice, complimentary to the other side. For what it's worth, NC State hasn't played a rugged schedule through their first three, if you would call UAB, the highest rated team they've played. We know, Adam, you've mentioned UAB and, what kind of, I won't call it upheaval, but that program might not be what it's been in past years. For the other side, VCU, I mean, if you were just going to take the schedule test, right, they've played the one best opponent out of the six that these teams have played. They played Utah State. They fell short, 80-77. It's a little bit deceiving. VCU was down 18, guys, with 11.5 left in that game, really being outplayed, and made a pretty good run at the end, which that style is capable of doing. But now you're taking your style, running it right into the grinder against the same style, against a team that might be better at it than you are on their home floor. A couple of things you have to point out here, guys. VCU, and this, I'm just going to lay this out there real quick so guys can follow us throughout the season where this is concerned. When we talk overall free throw percentage shooting for a team, I generally like to go in and see who are the guys shooting the free throws. If you're collectively 77%, but you've got 2 out of 3 guys that only shoot 69% that take most of your free throws, then it's really not 77. In this turnover issue for VCU, almost 21% of their offensive possessions are turning into turnovers. And when you look at the guys that are handling the ball, they all have humongous turnover rates. Why is that a big deal? Because NC State turns over like crazy. I think they're 50 in the country as I look right now at doing so. And NC State, for what it's worth, doesn't turn the ball over. So it kind of negates what VCU wants to do here, right? They're going to handle the ball. The other side's not going to handle the ball. And for the other example here of advantage for NC State, they shoot the three really well. They've got multiple guys that are just flinging it up there and they're going in. Now, again, it could be that it's bad opposition, right? We can always throw that in there this early in the season. However, sharpshooters are sharpshooters. And right now, NC State has a plethora of them, and VCU hasn't defended it at all against their bad schedule. And tell you the truth, in the Utah State game, Utah State didn't try them. Utah State shot 13 threes in that game and still won, scored 80 points without putting the threes up. So to me, NC State has a pair of huge advantages here. A, they don't turn it over. They can turn VCU over because they do. B, NC State shoots the three really well. VCU hasn't defended it yet. Coaching edge has to go to Wade, I would think, in this game. And remember that his McNeese State team, and guys, Adam and Brian, help me just a little bit here. I believe that my recollection is that the McNeese State team played much better defense. I get it was the Southland, but they were more defensive predicated than Will Wade's LSU teams were. It seems like he's taken a new form of philosophical style here where he wants his teams to play defense. And NC State players will tell you, we grind every single play. I read a couple of these quotes. We grind every single play. The standard is the standard right till the end of the game. For those who are worried about NC State letting up at the end if they have a big lead, that quote right there tells you they won't. 12.5 might not be too big to cover here. I looked at over in this game, guys, thinking that NC State's going to find their way to 90 in this game. It's going to be fast-paced. Last thing I'll say is these two, the way they play, it sometimes turns into a foul shooting festival. NC State shoots it really well. VCU not so well, but free throw opportunities are still free throw opportunities, scoring opportunities with the clock stops. So I'd have two ways to look at it. I wouldn't look at VCU's direction. I'd probably look over first and then maybe the NC State way. I just think Will Wade he's got better players at this point and they're more cohesive.
Yeah. Rob, you mentioned Will Wade's McNeese team. They played slow. They played much slower than what NC State's playing at. And I think The reason for the difference is he's got better players now. You referenced the 3-point shooting for NC State. Let's just put a number behind that. They're shooting 44% from behind the arc so far. Is that going to continue? No, but I don't really want to get in front of it right now. And here's the other thing. It's not just 3-point shooting, gang. This team is NC State, number 1 in the country inside the arc. 69% they're making on twos. So it doesn't matter if it's outside, inside. They're all going in for the Wolfpack right now. You also mentioned the turnover problems that are plaguing VCU at this juncture. If you're a VCU guy, I'm unhappy to report that there's going to be more issues for you here. They're also very bad at cleaning up the glass. Not only is NC State going to get, I think, extra possessions via turnover, they're going to get extra shot opportunities via the offensive glass as well. I think NC State dominates on the glass. I think they turn the ball over a lot. My initial, I think we're all kind of in agreement here that we don't want to jump in front of Will Wade and NC State here. We don't want to take the VCU side. I wouldn't want to bet an under either. I am a little concerned that is NC State due for an off night from 3 sooner rather than later? Answer's probably yes. So, but still, I mean, maybe what's NC State's team total here? Is like, because if this game gets up and over, it's going to be because of them, not VCU. I think it was
80.5, Brad.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's a number I wouldn't be afraid to go over. But yeah, I'm with Rob that my initial, when I saw this was going to be a feature matchup, my initial thought was over because NC State right now is playing exceptionally well offensively, and I just don't think VCU is the team is the opponent, Adam, that's going to stop that.
Yeah, so I'll go back to something Rob said quick about McNeese State defensively under Will Wade last season. So going back to last year, McNeese in the Southland outclassed that conference by a wide margin. So you could take some of those numbers with a grain of salt for a couple of reasons. One, they were the far superior team in every matchup. Two, it's like I feel like they did get to a point in conference play where they were like, can we play like a real team? Can we play like we want to play good teams? And they actually went on the road and lost a game to Nicholls State. And I feel like that's when Will really laid into this team last year. So I'll bring up a stat to just sort of support Rob's theory on the McNeese defense really like hitting another level down the stretch. They gave up 70 just twice from that point forward. One was in a win where they kind of comfortably won, and the other was to Purdue in a game that ended their season, where they only gave up 76 to a Purdue team that was one of the best teams in college basketball last year. 69-67 win over Clemson in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Right. So just at every other game of the Southland was under 70. Some of those didn't break 60, just to sort of support what Rob was saying about Will Wade defensively and what I think we'll see from NC State this year. Now, I thought there was some value on the opener of like 10.5, 11. I think that was quickly gone. You're looking at 12.5 some places. Like my number's sort of right in that range. I think I made it 13. I think the value's probably gone. So there was value in NC State in the early going because NC State was bad last year, right? Like they just weren't a very good team. Will Wade's taking over. I don't think the books were really sure how to fully price this team, new coach, all these new players. I think they've got it priced correctly now. Doesn't mean NC State's not winning by 20 here, which is the way I would lean toward this going. So no play for me, but you're going to have that's going to have to be an egregious number for me to go against Wade. And one more thing I'll say about Will Wade. I think go back to something Rob said a couple of weeks ago. I think he's kind of on a mission. I think he wants to throw up 20-point wins, and flex on people right now in his new job. He's still got the chip on his shoulder from the whole LSU thing. And I think we're going to see that play out in some of the margins of victory for this NC State team.